Apple taking a hit so far this year as it comes to face with several potential headwinds. Let's bring in Yahoo Finance's Dan Howley with more of the troubles biting into Apple and what may be ahead for the tech giant. Dan.
Yeah, Josh, it's been it's felt more like a bad year than a bad quarter for Apple with all the different news that's come out. The latest is that iPhone sales in China were down 33%. That's according to Chinese government data. Bloomberg had reported on that. Before that, Counterpoint Research had reported in the first 6 weeks of 2024, iPhone sales had fallen 24% year over year. Now, overall smartphone sales in China had fallen 7% at that point, but still, it's worth noting that fall in China itself. Part of that has to do with the economic conditions there. Part of it has to do with the rise of a resurgent Huawei, as well as a huge boost in iPhone sales that had happened in 2023 as a holdover from 2022 when there were some factory issues. But still, it's important to point that out, as well as the fact that Apple authorized retailers are cutting prices on some iPhones. The iPhone 15, the latest iPhone, and that's according to the South China Morning Post. But it's not just the iPhone. There's also the obvious 800-pound gorilla in the room, the battle with the DOJ, that huge antitrust trial, or antitrust lawsuit, rather, that the DOJ filed. Apple's going to have to fight that. One of the key issues that is worth noting is that the bigger problem may not be to specific business sectors, but to Apple's attention. And so, Bill Gates has famously said that if they didn't have the antitrust suit going on at Microsoft in the 90s and early 2000s, they might not have missed the boat on mobile. Remains to be seen. Hindsight's 2020, what have you. They did try to launch their own Windows Phone. Nobody's using one now, so that tells you how well that went. But it is something that I think is worth pointing out about the attention.
Yeah, and then that gives us the opportunity to talk about some of the products and upgrades that we might see at the Worldwide Developer Conference, which is in June, I believe June 10th. What can we expect this year? Anything big?
So the big thing is going to be, it's got to be AI. We had seen that some inkling and hints of it in some of the discussion on AI. There's a tweet by Jaws who had said that it will be absolutely incredible WWDC, so capital A, nice. Capital I. Yeah. Obviously, you wouldn't do that when you look at the rest of the case that he's used there. So that's a clear call out that AI is going to be the big thing. Now, there's two reasons for that. One is maybe they're going to have a whole bunch of cool new AI stuff at WWDC. The other is to notify Wall Street that, look, we know what's going on. We know that you guys are talking about this. So we're thinking about it, and there's going to be something. We just don't know exactly.
What would surprise you, Dan? Like when it comes to it, would it be like, is it going to be like a bigger, better Siri? I mean, what would surprise Dan Howley as you're watching it?
I mean, if Siri could do better in general, that would be great. But I think opening up generative AI on the iPhone could mean a lot more exploring without having to open up apps. I think that would be something interesting if they get the voice aspect of that going. Now, okay, that could also lead to more conversation about antitrust and Apple blocking out competition.
For sure.
But still, I think the phones now are displays, cameras, batteries. That's what people want to know about. We've seen some camera apps that have gotten generative AI with Google and Samsung. If Apple's going to just tread that same road, it's not going to be all that interesting unless they manage to do something more than like I take a picture of myself and make it look like I can dunk a basketball. That's what you can do with Gen AI on Google's phones and Samsung's. Apple's got to do a little bit more to really get people jazzed up about it.
Cinematic virtual dunking of a basketball.
Also, just make me be able to dunk a basketball. Maybe that. Make me taller. I mean,
Right. All right, we'll put that on Tim Cook's agenda. We'll see.
Just
what happens, Dan. All right. Anything's possible.
Yeah.
Who knows? Thank you, Dan.